There's this fascinating paradox right at the beginning of the biblical story that has had people scratching their heads for centuries. It really gets to the heart of what it even means to be human. Okay, so let's just jump right in. On one hand, you have this incredibly strict command: do not, under any circumstances, make an image of God, period. But then in the very first chapter of the Bible, it says that humanity is made in God's image. So what gives? How can both of these things be true at the same time? Well, the key to unlocking this whole thing is a single Hebrew word, tselem. When the Bible uses this word, it's almost always talking about a physical, visible thing, like an idol, a statue, or even a portrait. If we can get our heads around this one word, the whole paradox starts to make sense. Right, so keeping that word tselem in mind, let's look at the first half of the problem, the absolute command against making one. And this wasn't just some suggestion. For ancient Israel, this was a massive deal, a core part of who they were. I mean, the texts are just crystal clear on this. All through the Hebrew scriptures, from Numbers to Ezekiel, the Israelites are told to find and smash any tselem, any statue, any idol of other gods. There were no loopholes, no exceptions. It was an absolute ban. But this is where it gets so interesting. Despite that absolute no exceptions ban on making it tselem of God, the book of Genesis flips the script and uses that exact same word to describe one thing: us, humanity. So how is that possible? Well, the first clue is realizing the Bible isn't talking about physical appearance. It's not about what we look like. It's about function. It's about the job we were created to do. Think about it. The very first time humanity is called God's tselem, his image, the very next phrase tells us why. Let them have dominion. Right away, the idea of being an image is tied to a role, a task. It's about ruling, about overseeing. And this is the crucial shift in thinking. Being an image isn't about looking like God, it's about acting for God. It means we are his authorized representatives here on earth. It's a job description, not a mirror reflection. Now, this whole idea of being a representative might still feel a little abstract to us today, but to the people in the ancient world, this would have made perfect sense. They had a powerful real-world analogy for it that they saw all the time. So picture this. You're an ancient king. You've just conquered some new territory way out on the edge of your empire. You can't be there all the time, right? So how do you remind everyone who's in charge? Simple. You build a statue of yourself and stick it right in the middle of town. And get this. That statue, that tselem, it wasn't just a piece of art. It was a political statement. It was the physical embodiment of the king's rule and his authority in a place he couldn't physically be. If you disrespected that statue, you were disrespecting the king himself. And that, right there, is the aha moment. The Bible is saying that humanity, that we, are God's living, breathing tselem. We are these statues he has placed on planet Earth to represent his good and loving rule over all of creation. Okay, so if this is true, if every single human being is a living representative of the ultimate king, that has some pretty profound implications. It completely changes how we view the value of a human life. And the Bible actually doubles down on this idea in a couple of other key places. It links this word tselem to the idea of family, and then directly to why life itself is so sacred. So first, in Genesis 5, we read that Adam's son Seth was born in his father's tselem, his image. This adds a whole new layer to it, right? It's not just a professional relationship, like an ambassador, it's a family relationship, like a son represents his father. And then there's this other verse, and honestly, this one is a game changer. This passage in Genesis 9 gives the ultimate reason why murder is the ultimate crime. It's the bedrock for all human justice. So here's the powerful takeaway. Why is human life sacred? Because humans are the tselem of God. To hurt or destroy one of God's living representatives isn't just an attack on that person. It's an attack on the king they represent. It's basically cosmic treason. All right, so let's pull all these threads together now. Function, representation, sacredness, and see how this finally solves that paradox we started with. When you put them side by side, the contrast is, well, it's night and day. On one side, you've got these unauthorized, dead, lifeless chunks of wood and stone that humans made. And on the other, you have the authorized, living, breathing image created by God himself. And that is the answer to our puzzle. The reason God forbids making any other images of him is simple. The true living image already exists. Why would you ever want a cheap, lifeless, unauthorized copy when the living, breathing, authorized original is walking all around you? That original is us.
So that leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? If being human means being a living, breathing Selim, a representative of God's rule and care right here on Earth, what does that actually mean for how we treat each other and how we care for our world today?